Welcome to Ready, Set, Real Estate, where we will help empower and educate you on many different aspects of real estate, finance, and investing. Each week, we will expand your knowledge and uncover hidden truths. We will break down real-world scenarios and study actual how-to strategies. Anyone can buy real estate, but together we'll ensure you make smart real estate investment decisions. Now, here's your host, award-winning author, international speaker, and real estate educator, Lisa Gillett.
Happy Wednesday. Welcome back. Oh, it's been a long time since I've seen you all and you've seen me. So there have been some changes. I'm really excited to share. Your girl is done with law school. Woohoo! Yes. Talk about those 2025 goals. I am officially done and I am thrilled. I'm excited. It's been 4 years, but definitely well worth it. Well worth it. So I know some of you have shared prayers, love, excitement offline. For those of you who knew that I've been on this journey, which is why I've been offline, because I had to make a choice. I had to make a decision whether I was going to invest my time and energy in school, in work, and family, or split that time with doing the creative stuff, which I love. I love doing this stuff here, or do the creative stuff such as coming on every week and committing to the podcast here. But I'm here and I'm back and I'm excited. I like that idea, right? Back and better than ever. I've got a new acronym behind my name, and I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled. So lots been happening as I've been reading offline, experiencing life offline. Yes, there is life offline. There is life offline. But I definitely will share that I have missed being online and being in a voice, especially because some of you have called me and are like, Lisa, what do you think about this? What do you think is going to happen? And I appreciate you all calling and reaching out and asking me my thoughts, sharing that you value my opinion, my expertise. So that's really excited. Before I jump into 2025 goals, as I'm just kind of jumping on, I'm just like pouring into you all. I want to say hi, say hello. I want to say welcome to those of you who are new to the show, who are new to me. Shout out to those of you who are connecting from Nextdoor app. That's really where I like to post as well and connect with you, because that's the actual neighborhood, right? I know what's happening. I see what's happening, and I get to deal with like the quote unquote real people on the Nextdoor app. So I really enjoy connecting with you all there. And if you are coming from there, welcome. This is streaming on one of our many platforms, because we stream on LinkedIn, we stream on YouTube, Facebook, or Meta, of course. And then we repurpose this, and then we stream on Instagram and some of the other platforms. And of course, we upload this podcast to our radio podcast channel. So a lot of places where you can get the good stuff here. I just want to reintroduce myself, come back, share what's been going on. So I just started blurbing and blabbing about my excitement with being done with law school. I shared with my husband, I said, if you see me wanting to apply or enroll in school again, say no to me. Say, this is it. This is it. And I've said that to myself, but this was me living out a childhood dream. So for those of you, again, who are new to me, my name is Lisa Gillett. I'm your host. I'm an active real estate professional. I'm a real estate broker, 10 toes to the ground, as you would say, that I'm active in the field. I've been fortunate and blessed to be working with some great clients that have been closing, selling their property, buying property. And for a while, as I was finishing up this last quarter or last term in law school, I was not taking on buyer clients. So it's really interesting that as soon as I took that week of finals, that's kind of when I started to reconnect with buyer clients. I've got a couple more new buyer strategy meets that we're having scheduled with new clients, prospective clients, to see if it's a good fit. And not necessarily will you meet with someone and know if it's a good fit or not. So that's why I like to make sure we're all on the same page. And clients know that just like they choose their professionals, professionals like myself also choose their clients and want to make sure that it's a good working relationship for long term. I'm in this for the long game, long haul. I love what I do. I've been saying this for the past, what are we in? July 2nd already, 2025. I'm dating this show. July 2nd, 2025, been sharing this for the last 6 months and counting, that I absolutely love what I do. I love the challenge. I love that I can travel from one end of the freeway to the next. I've got my eyes set on where clients who value me will fly me out to come negotiate their deals for them because they value an expert. They value someone with strategy and will aggressively negotiate for them and advocate for them. And that's what I embody. So you guys can you're learning a bucket list of mine. It's like, these are things that I want to experience and do. I have clients that I sell all over California, which has been a very fun experience. I wanted to share that. What else is going on with me? I think I shared. So I've got a new acronym here. So I've now earned my Juris Doctor degree. It's a JD, meaning that I have legal education under my belt. And as you all may have asked, it's so funny that until you jump into law, you don't necessarily realize that when you sit for the state bar, the state exam, you're a general practitioner. And there is another test for specialized practitioners. And that's when you niche down in a specialty. So lawyers, unlike real estate professionals, cannot call themselves specialists in certain areas of law unless they have sat for that particular exam administered by the state. So it's really interesting when people ask me, so what are you going to specialize in? Are you going to do real estate? And for me, yes, the answer is yes. That'll be my wheelhouse because I am approaching 2 decades in real estate. Can you believe it? Where did that go? Even when I think about this show and this platform, where did that go? Where has this time gone? I feel like it's all a blur, of course, because of the pandemic. But for me, I was still working. I was still creating, producing. And I think for some of you all who are experiencing some concern in terms of the geopolitical environment and the socioeconomic environment, I think it's important to remain focused and create. This is where you can hone down on your skill set, just like I did. For me, during that time of what felt like uncertainty, I knew what I wanted to do. I still focused on that. And I used the pandemic as an opportunity to level up my skill set. And I committed to that. So here I am able to share that I've earned my JD and degree. I finished law school. Shout out to those of you who know of Northwestern California University School of Law. Love, love, love. Love this school. Love the opportunity it presents. And if you want to learn more, definitely connect with me. I think I've recommended about 3 or 4 folks who have been interested in law. And I said, if you've got a working life like me, family and all of that, you're later in your career type stuff, and you want to do it economically where it makes financial sense for you and your family, I absolutely encourage you to look into schools such as this one that is accredited by the California Bar Committee. So it's a CBC accredited school as opposed to doing a American Bar Association approved or ABA approved school or accredited school. So there is a difference. Do your research, see what works for you. This works well for me. It worked well for me. And I was able to finish out a childhood dream. So I'm excited about that. For those of you who are listening to our radio podcast, I will also share with you my background, because I've got the ticker scrolling here about my background. And who is this gal? Who is this gal? Where's she been? Where's she been all your life? I've been right here. I've been right here waiting for you. I am broker owner of a boutique firm, Devenio Estates, based in Southern California. Devenio Estates. I'm a pricing strategy advisor, short sales and foreclosure certified, and a seniors real estate specialist. And all that means is that I continue doing my legal education in the areas that I enjoy working. I love working in probate, love working in trust sales, love working with our senior and our mature community. And it just speaks to my soul and my spirit to do work of my ancestors, right? And honor ancestors and those who have passed on and transitioned. And the goal for us, at least the goal for us, is making sure that we are representing the estate, the clients with integrity, and we are abiding by fiduciary duties. And all that means is just making sure that we are presenting and representing those estates in the best light. And if you've worked with me, you know what that means. If you haven't, and you're looking for someone to, be rah, and lead you with education and information so you can make an informed decision, give me a call. Don't hesitate. I've got the text right there, right here, 323-488-3265. Shameless plug in advertising. Shameless plug in advertising. So Ready Set Real Estate here. We've been going strong since, has it been 2017? My goodness, we're approaching 8 years. In fact, this month, I believe, is an anniversary. I'm going to go check that out. I believe July 2017 was when I had this wild idea for Ready Set Real Estate. And here we are, 8 years strong. And it's been tremendous. It's been a tremendous value for me because it allows me to tighten up my skill set. And I really have been having a great time. I just realized is I've been going on and on that I didn't do the most basic thing because I've been messing with my mic for some time. Let me just make sure my mic is on. Jeez, because I can just go on and on. Let's make sure. Okay. So I've been going on and on. Hold on. Let's see. Okay, cool. There we go. I need to make sure because I've done that unless someone's like, hey, can't hear you, Lisa. Can't hear your mic. Don't hear you. So you can hear me. Great. What else? So going strong, 2017 to current, it's been quite a ride and I'm here for it. I've been absolutely evolving this whole concept of the show and, just I'm one take Jane, so there's not like this huge editing crew in the back and production. It's just your girl. You hear it's you and I. Okay. With that being said, before I jump into episode 259, that means 259 episodes. And at some point we're going to hit 300 and, we're going to have all these continuing milestones that we're doing here. And I just want to say thank you for being a part of that. Thank you for being part of this community. Build to rent, boom. So yes, aside from what we're seeing in the geopolitical environment and socioeconomic environment and all this fun stuff that's going on, and I say that facetiously, depending on what side you are of all of this. Like I said, hone down those skill sets, focus, laser in, zoom in, and start creating. Creating is how you respond to things like this. With that being said, 259, build to rent, boom. So the current generation, next generation, I think just all tied with the economic factors is really pushing construction and builders in a different direction in terms of who their target market is. And before I jump into that, I want to make sure we give a shout out to our show sponsor, of course, Devenio Estates. Will be right back after this sponsor break. You guys be right back.
We know how challenging it can be to try and sell a home while also dealing with other financial and legal matters. We're here to help. Devenio Estates is the real estate firm you need to make sure your unique situation is handled as quickly and efficiently as possible. Our team of professionals has a combined experience of over 30 years in real estate, construction, and finance industries. As active professionals in the industry, we know the importance of timelines and pride ourselves in providing superior service without compromising integrity. We use industry software and copyrighted proposals so that our real estate agents submit accurate and complete listing information and buyer offers. Our goal is to exceed your expectations and set Devenio Estates as the go-to real estate firm for excellence in advocacy and superior services for our clients. Contact us today to learn more about our services.
Awesome. I just got an email and I'm texting my client. I just got an email and I was texting my client to share, congratulations, their loan is funded. Woohoo! That's so awesome. Congrats. Their loan is funded. And what does that mean? So for those of you who've not experienced this yet, soon, right? Put it on that bucket list, those 2025 goals that we've been talking about. Essentially, that means that they've wired the remaining balance of their down payments, and the lenders, it has sent over the balance of the purchase price. If you are using financing, if you're using cash, then of course, all that happens at one time. But if you are financing a purchase and you've gone through the underwriting, and I think this would be a good time this summer for us to revisit that. While I'm not a mortgage broker, lender, professional, I'll have some of my colleagues come on and jump in. But I think it's good for us to kind of go through the river of the loan underwriting, because it's depending on you if you're 1099, self-employed, you're a business owner, you're W-2, it's quite a river. It's a river of verifications and processes and collecting information and verifying and checking off those boxes to getting to this part. So you can only imagine for someone who may have been as disciplined as my clients have been to also now go through the underwriting process where they're being asked for more information. And this is how I explain to people is that if you are financing a property, you're bringing X amount of dollars to the table and the lender is funding the remaining balance. And so you are going in partnership, right, in business with the lender. So they are checking your credentials out. So to get to this point of where you have funded your loan is funded, that means you are now steps away from getting that property transferred officially and recorded and registered in your name down at the county recorder's office, where you will be in the books. So I want to say shout out to my clients and those of you who are going through this with your respective real estate professionals and lender team. Hang in there. If it were easy, then we all would be doing it, is what the saying is, right? If it were easy, everyone would do it. But as we've learned in this show, as a point of discussion, just kind of give another perspective to that, because as I've been working with youth, as you all know, with our Real Estate 100 movement, what we learned is that not everyone wants to do homeownership, and it's got to be perfectly fine. It's got to be perfectly fine that not everyone wants to do homeownership. What we encourage here on the show, and that's been part of my real estate goal, not of only 2025, but going forward, is real estate literacy. I'm all about the real estate literacy here, and that's what this is about, okay? Real estate literacy. All right, since we had show sponsor, we talked about real estate goals. We'll come back to that over the summer. We'll continue to talk about that. We'll talk about credit. We'll talk about saving, discipline, just some of hacks and things that I like to share with my clients offline. I will pour into you as well with that. And hang in there. So if this is something you want to do, just get with the right team, listen to the right information. It's hard to decipher information. When I speak with Kyle offline, he's always asking me that. We've had these discussions, is how does one discern what is real and what isn't in terms of accurate information? And that's such a great question. And I think it's just, you just have to look at, I think historically you're looking at some patterns, you're looking at, who is disseminating that information, what their background is, that whole thing. I like to encourage, when we do our youth shows, I like to encourage them to scroll down to the bottom and look at who's presenting that information, who's paying for that information, who's sponsoring that information, what is their underlying motive, right? Okay, with that being said, I do want to say before I jump into the show topic for today, which is build to rent, this build to rent boom, I do want to do full disclaimers. This information is provided on the information provided on this show should not be considered legal or tax advice. Please seek legal and tax advice from reputable licensed professionals. Okay, so don't come on here and say, Lisa said, Lisa told me, this is what I know because Lisa said it. So here we're just having a fun discussion. This is edutainment at its finest. If you've got a real situation that you need some advice on, that involves maybe tax or legal advice, I encourage you, I implore you to get with those professionals. If you want to talk with me offline, like I said, my information is there. I've got it here presented for you. So you have all that you need. All right. With that being said, what I've noticed, and maybe you've noticed, is there's been an immense amount of construction happening over these past couple years, but mainly we have been paying attention to builders' behavior, build to rent. So go ahead and put that in comment. I want you to put BTR down in the comments. So BTR is an acronym here for build to rent. And essentially what we're seeing is this next generation, current generation, not so much interested in home ownership, which I've been saying this for a long time. I've been sharing this for a long time that these folks here are not really interested in buying. And that's because they've been paying attention to their predecessors. Some of the things they've heard, this nightmare stories, the hard times, but more importantly, I think what's really doing it is the fact that we are, making it seem like 7%, 6% interest rates are scary. Everything is relative. Everything is relative. Now, yes, you may all say, hey, Lisa, that's easy for you to say, you've been at this for a long time and, but, for the rest of us, right? For the rest of us, 7%, 7.65%, almost 8% is insane. Let's have a relative conversation. 7% relative during a time in the 90s. I can go back to the 90s because that's what I remember. You can definitely Google this stuff, but rates were 13%, 11%. Back in the 90s, they were pretty high, which is why adjustable rate mortgages were popular. They were attractive. Those those ARMs were very appealing. Right now, again, disclaimer, I'm not a mortgage professional, but you wonder, how are people getting into this market? There's such a thing as rate buy downs. Now, rate buy downs would require, now before let me do this because I'm kind of doing a little segue here. Okay. So rate buy downs, and then I'll get back to BTR, right? Rate buy downs help buyers get their foot in the door, and it's supposed to come in a form of a seller credit. It has to be paid by the seller. So you negotiate seller credit. It has to be an amount that would equate to buying down the rate, and you essentially get a fixed rate for a period of year, second year, so there's like a 3-2-1 type thing. And it'll allow you to get these low fixed rates for the first 3 years, at which the final year you then have usually the par rate for the remaining life of the loan, or for as long as you keep that loan. That's one way, right, to kind of ease your way into these mortgage payments. Now, with that being said, we do have this thing called new construction, and a lot of builders are offering incentives to new homeowners. So that may be a way to go. But what's very interesting right now, is that builders are now paying attention to the renter market. Some of you have decided this isn't for you, and you're not looking to necessarily lay roots in a certain city or state. California, we've noticed a lot of folks have left during the pandemic and moved out of areas where affordability made much more sense. Interestingly enough, that those folks, I wouldn't say those exact folks have returned, but it's about the same amount. So 46% of Californians moved, and I believe we're at like 32% and counting we've got people that moved into California. So I guess we can be at a wash with that, is that people are kind of maybe paying attention. What's out there, quote unquote, grass isn't greener on the other side. But then people who have moved out of California absolutely love it. And they're like, yeah, I'm good with California. I don't need to necessarily have the sunny weather at the expense of the cost of living there. And so this brings me to this point here on the build to rent, is that here renters are being incentivized with being able to have luxury living, right? This type of build and construction is appealing to the lifestyle of this current generation, who doesn't necessarily want to put, 5, 10, 20% down into a property, into an investment where they essentially are using real estate as an investment vehicle, where they would leverage the gain on appreciation, gain on equity. You have a generation here that says, I'm into crypto. That's my wheelhouse. I trade. I'm into ETFs. I'm in stocks. I'm a VC. I'm into other things where I'm not necessarily tying myself down or to real estate, which is illiquid. Real estate is illiquid, meaning you can't just go in and swipe a card or write a check and you've got access to your money. No, there's a whole process to gain access to the equity within a property if you're looking to use or leverage that to do other things. So very interesting to see that there is a shift. There's a mindset shift. And my question is only, how would that affect, I guess, the next generation or few generations? And I think we still need to have more studies show, because currently the last data that I've been paying attention to, and it still runs along or align with historically, that real estate is one of those investments that still garners or contributes to someone's bottom line or their net worth. And some of you may appreciate this or not. There is dialogue with the current administration. Current president is very pro digital currency, and he is now encouraging conversations with, I believe it's the Federal Finance Housing Agency, to consider digital currency, that's cryptocurrency, as an asset on the mortgage application in order to qualify for home loans. So this is a very interesting dynamic where you have a generation that says, I don't necessarily want to tie myself to an illiquid asset I'm not going to buy, but they might have crypto wallets that, if this passes, if there's a push to now accept cryptocurrency assets to increase the net worth, right? The viability, the credibility of a mortgage applicant in order to qualify for a loan, without requiring them to liquidate that asset, liquidate that cryptocurrency or digital currency, and convert it into your savings account. This right here, I think, will spawn another boom in the market, and this build to rent might become quickly a thing of the past, or it could be a stepping stone into homeownership. I think it could serve two purposes, where it would be a stepping stone into homeownership for those who don't necessarily want to do the apartment style renting, but they have families, they're not willing to commit, they're not ready to commit as they're making these decisions. And these are huge and life decisions as to where you lay roots, where you are going to invest your money, and how you're going to build your equity and net worth for not just yourself, but long-term goals here. So as we are having this dialogue, I'm exploring these concepts. And I think I'm going to go ahead and dedicate a whole show specific to the president's push to count digital currency on the mortgage application. And we'll kind of unpack that as we start to see more of this dialogue of using crypto to buy real estate. It's not a new thing. Some states are already doing it. I'm licensed in California. In California, we've not quite, have moved completely into that direction, but we do have platforms where crypto is happening, and we're excited. We're excited. So I think we should have an open mind because, change is inevitable. That's for sure. Change is inevitable, and that's what we are saying. All right. I like to make the show short, quick, and sweet. I've got a long day ahead of me, got meetings, like I said, we've just closed. I got to let my clients know that we've just funded. We've got closing coming up and lots happening offline, but I'll see you next week right here on your favorite podcast, Ready, Set, Real Estate. Make sure to subscribe, like, and share. Let somebody know. Sharing is caring. Let someone know what we're doing. All right. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Ready, Set, Real Estate podcast with Lisa Gillett, the LA Super Agent. Please like, subscribe, and share LA Super Agent everywhere on your favorite podcast platform.